WereWolf Dream February 20th, 2012. First in my dream there was a girl and three guys, two of them being army guys. All of them was talking, it was nighttime. The guy in the middle of them eyes glowed monstrously red and they was huge. He transformed into a werewolf, grew about a foot. During the transformation he looked huge and vicious, with big black claws and big white teeth with werewolf fur all over him. He growled a bit, then everybody acted scared. Then he slit the guy on his right side throat with his left claw, ripped his throat completely out. The guy gagged and dropped. The girl screamed loudly! Exclamation point. Quote. He then turned back around and slit the guy on his left side stomach with his right claw and his intestines spilled out. Then he dropped. The girl screamed loudly again! Exclamation point. Quote. The werewolf let out another vicious growl, seeming to be smiling, his time lasting about 2.5 seconds. The girl ran off and talked to some more soldiers, told them what was happening. She was telling them what was going on. They got their gun ready. Then next thing you know, the werewolf attacked some other soldier standing by and just get him and knocked him down with a backhand from his claw. As the soldier by the girl was calling the other soldiers' attention and trying to find a clear shot, the werewolf stole that soldier's jeep that he knocked in the head. He took off, got by the girl. The guy soldier beside her may have shot once or twice but missed. That soldier then phoned in on his large black walkie-talkie. I missed him, sir. He got away from me. Can you find a location on him? Quote. Change of scenery. This was actually in the sewers. 3 soldiers was in the sewers, 2 up ahead guarding the left and right pathways. The one on the left side was me. And the 3rd soldier was by the front of the T. The soldier by the T called back and said that's impossible. Point. In disbelief. About that time a soldier jeep came crashing to where the other soldiers were and they started screaming and shooting. The werewolf was instantly out of the jeep and came for the soldiers. Both the soldiers ran to the left side because the werewolf came crashing in from the right from the jeep. Didn't see the 3rd soldier anymore. I guess he went to get help. Me and the other soldier was on the run. The werewolf picked up a chainsaw and we ran through a door. The werewolf was chasing us, growling. We slammed the door behind us and locked it. It turned out to be a washroom that we were trapped in. The bullets did no good, but by now we didn't have our guns anymore. I seen that the werewolf was fixing to break in and kill us with that chainsaw, so I grabbed a bunch of clothes that was laying on the bed and folded them, then put them in a washing machine to make them stronger, then got them out. They were folded in a length of about 1.5 feet and slightly wet. The werewolf rammed the door with his shoulder and busted it half open, then growled and rammed it again and the door opened widely. He then walked in with that huge chainsaw. I then walked up to him. He tried to cut me. I stuck the thick wet clothing onto his chainsaw with my left hand and it didn't cut me. Then I threw a fast right hook as hard as I could. I had to practically jump into it because he was so tall. When it hit him, his head just turned about 25 degrees, then he stared right at me again. The other soldier was trying to fight him as well and ended up right in front of him with his back turned to the werewolf. He then done a reverse elbow to the side of the werewolf's head. The werewolf then actually put his arms on each side of the other soldier and reversed the chainsaw and slowly was inserting it into his gut. About that time I took my left hand with the wet clothing in it and put it close to the other guy's stomach on the chainsaw blade, trying to jam it again. It was still slowly going into his gut. He was screaming. I then jumped into another really hard right hook to the werewolf's mouth. His head cocked 25 degrees to the right again and he let the soldier loose. The soldier then limped over by me and I helped him. We both was preparing for the 3rd encounter with the werewolf after he recovered from the punch that he took like a slap on the face cause he was so huge and vicious. He growled and looked as though he was smiling again. I saw a piece of foam rubber on the washing machine and grabbed it to deflect the blade as well as the wet clothing to tangle the blade. The werewolf went in for the kill again. I used the foam rubber and the wet clothing to deflect it away from my body at the same time as trying to tangle up the blade with the wet clothing. Then I jumped into another right hook completely as hard as I could. This time I cranked his head about 35 degrees and knocked him back about 3.5 feet. About that time I heard a car somewhere outside of the room. The werewolf smiled at me and took off. By this time the other soldier that was with me stayed in the room. I don't know if he was alive or not. I think he might have bled out. I then was panicking, jogged outside fast. The werewolf was outside in human form and I knew it was him, but the other two soldiers that pulled up in the driveway thought I was crazy and was trying to find out what was the problem. The other soldier / werewolf welcomed them first, then they was trying to get me to go with them. All I knew that one soldier or wolf could transform at any time, so I insisted that they only took me and the ones that they brought with them. Because he was a werewolf, they acted like that wasn't gonna happen. Then about this time went back into the washing room and thought of werewolf's weaknesses: silver bullets. I didn't have any silver bullets, so I was grabbing a silver knife in preparation to take with me in case the werewolf turned again. Still trying to decide whether to go or not and keeping an eye on the black-haired soldier that turned into a werewolf previously. I then awakened.